So, yeah, the irony is I'm wearing a MASH shirt. I love MASH, I love to talk about MASH, but not right now. Later. What we're going to be talking about right now is something also pretty awesome. This. What I hold in my hand here is Volume 1 of the Maximum Ride manga. Now, if you're new to this channel, as I know some of you must be, you're probably wondering, what is Maximum Ride? To make a long story short, it started out as a book series written by American author James Patterson. Now, I don't know what everyone's feelings on Mr. Patterson are, but I think he has his good moments and his bad moments. His good books, his bad books. But I can easily say that for any person in the entertainment industry. I can say that about directors, actors, writers, authors, video game people, any form of entertainment. I can say that. That each person has some good, some bad, and some have just plain bad. And some can't keep themselves out of trouble for 10 minutes. Mel Gibson. But anyway, so yeah, it started as a book series written by American author James Patterson. The books were popular for a while, but all the major fans agree on one thing. He should have stopped at the third book. I own one copy of each book in that series, and one copy of each of the volumes of the manga. Some of you are thinking, well, what's manga? The way it was explained to me is it's like a comic book, but written somewhere in Asia. Written/illustrated somewhere in Asia. If this is wrong, let me know in the comments below. That's just the way it was explained to me. So, the most diehard fans agree that where they should have just stopped was the third book. And if he had just ended it there and left it alone, all the bitching and moaning done by a lot of critics would never have happened. And as someone who has read most of the way through, I have my agreements and disagreements for that point. I'll agree that some of the best stuff came from the trilogy, and I don't care for a lot of the changes he and his team of ghost writers made. But there is some stuff in the later books that's okay. Like, I know they focus a bit too much on the romance between two of the main characters, but sometimes I find the romance to be nice. Pardon me for being old-fashioned, but I do kind of like when a romance is going well. I don't care for toxic relationships. And the relationship between those two, is a very good relationship. And if you disagree with me, go ahead. Just know that, yeah, I prefer the whole good romantic relationship. And if you actually like toxic relationships, what the hell is wrong with you? What the hell's going on with the lighting here? Moving on. So the series' history, to my knowledge, started as books. Books were popular for a while, then slowly declined. They declined because I think by the time of the fourth book, James Patterson was not writing by himself. He had a team of what's called ghost writers. Not to be affiliated with Ghost Rider, the pretty damn awesome Marvel superhero, if I do say so myself. But yeah, ghost writers are basically writers whose names are not mentioned in the book. Their names are not mentioned by the author. He does not credit them. He doesn't say, oh, well, if anything here went wrong, it's the ghost writer's fault. Basically, he's saying, if anything went wrong, it's his fault. Now, I appreciate a man who stands up for his friends, but no, I believe if someone is responsible for something, they gotta take responsibility for it. Do I think he's responsible for some of what went wrong? Yeah, maybe. Do I think he's responsible for every single damn thing that I don't like in those books? No. No, some of those ghostwriters need to step up and admit responsibility. Yeah, good luck getting that to happen. Moving along. So it started as books. Books got popular, then declined. By the time of the 9th book, I think everyone was just done. Anyway, later on, it got turned into what is praised as its best adaptation. The best adaptation and first adaptation, this manga. Illustrated by South Korean manga artist, God, I hope I'm pronouncing this name correctly. I do not speak a word of the Korean language, so if I pronounce this incorrectly, please be sure to correct me, somebody. Narai Lee. Is it Narai? Narai? I'm sorry, I just don't know a single word of that language. Moving along. The manga, I think, are the most popular version. The most popular adaptation of the books. There's also a Marvel comic. Yeah, Marvel got a hold of the rights and made a little comic book based on it, but I have heard no praise or criticism there. Which is ironically even worse than being criticized. Yeah, to a lot of people who don't like the criticism something gets, at least it's getting attention. The worst attention you can give a form of media is no attention whatsoever. Comics, animated shows, movies, you name it. If you're not giving it any attention, that is very, very bad for them. So maybe there is someone that I don't know about who's giving them attention, but I haven't heard much of anything. I myself am indifferent to the Marvel comic. I don't love it, I don't hate it, I'm indifferent to it. The manga, though, I gotta say, I love that manga. It is very good. Then there's debatably the worst adaptation of Maximum Ride, the damn movie. I'm not going to do a review of the movie. And I'm going to ask my friends who are critics and reviewers, do not watch that movie. Just don't. I've seen the Maximum Ride movie. I personally don't care for it. If you like it, that's fine. That's your opinion. Just know that I don't agree with you. And without going into spoilers, because if I were to tell you everything wrong with that movie, I would have to go into spoilers, and I don't want to do that. But without going into too many spoilers, the actors and actresses, they did fine. It was the writer, the director, and everyone else who screwed up. And the CGI was really, really shitty, at least in my opinion. At least in my opinion. If you disagree with me, please let me know in the comments. Anyway, so that's the series history. There are at present 9 volumes of the manga. Each one volume is one half of each book. I think with 5, 6, and 7 it gets screwy. Or maybe it doesn't, I don't know. I don't know about the Marvel comic. I know there's only one movie, and personally, that's probably for the best. Last but not least, we have my personal history with the Maximum Ride series. I first became aware of these books when I was in middle school. Van Buren Middle School here in Ohio, one of our assignments was you have to read a book each quarter. And yeah, quarter. The Kettering City school system. We have 2 semesters. Each semester has 2 quarters. So there's 4 quarters in a school year. And yeah, that's not just middle school. That's all the way to high school. If you're just entering that system, I feel bad for you. For my fellow graduates, be glad. Anyway. Moving along. So way back when I was in middle school, around the early 2010s. Yeah, I don't remember the exact years. It was the last few years of the Obama administration. I was given 2 books by one of my teachers. One of which was simply titled School's Out Forever. The teacher chose that book and said it would be good for me because of the title, and pretty much the title only. But, yeah. So I read that book, and I liked it. It's a good book. What I didn't know at the time was it was the second book in the Maximum Ride series. I wouldn't find that out until much later. When I did find out, I felt, oh, well, I feel stupid. Yeah, I can just easily say that I felt stupid because I read the second book without even knowing what the first one was. I later did go back and read the first one and reread the second one. Then I found there was a manga of it. And I discovered that on YouTube. There was a YouTube channel that was showing in videos pages of the manga. And I felt, at the time, I didn't even know the title Maximum Ride. I just knew the second book's title, School's Out Forever. So I remember reading the characters' names, and I thought, hey, wait a minute, those sound familiar. Looked them up, and that's how I discovered the series. And that's when I later found the first book in the series, and all the others. But like a moron, guess what I found before I found the books? Am I ashamed? No. I actually kind of like the manga. I don't want to say better than the books, because the books themselves are still pretty good. But I guess they just draw my attention more. And if I were to tell you, in my personal opinion, the order of the best version to the worst version, it's kind of a tie between the books and the manga. I think they're both pretty great. I'm indifferent to the Marvel comic. And I do not like the movie. So what is Maximum Ride actually about? 6 kids who were experimented on by scientists in a secret lab in Death Valley, California. These children were given bird DNA. They are 98% human and 2% avian in terms of their genetics. Yes, avian, fancy word for bird. And this means that they have wings, they can fly, and they have other powers too. Examples, well, I won't say who has what, because that'd be spoilers. But what I will say is one of them has the power of invisibility, another has control over magnetism, and one of them even has the power to read frickin' minds. Sounds like something straight out of Marvel, doesn't it? And to think, they were not registered as Marvel characters until 2015. And they're still not, because they're Patterson's characters. Moving along. So, basically, the 6 of them escaped from the lab, and now they are on the run. Running away so the scientists can't catch them again, and on a quest of their own to discover what the hell happened to their parents. And it all goes on and on from there. Is it a new groundbreaking story? No. Is it a good story? Absolutely. Do any of my friends know about this? Well, to my knowledge, only one, no, two. About two of my friends are familiar with this book. Jacob Adkins, who I went to high school with, he said he loves these books. Oh, and before I forget, one detail that I'll be scorned about in the comments if I forget. Later on in the books, the kids discover a dog. The dog can talk. He's not as funny as Scooby-Doo in my opinion, but that's just me. He's still okay. Moving along, though, my buddy Evan, I told him about these books. He seemed interested. Had a video about this on his own channel, but he deleted it. And that's fine. So, would I recommend the books? Personally, I'd recommend everything except that damn movie. And one thing I would like... Speaking of dogs... One thing I would like is... How about, like, an animated feature? Like, that movie is said by most fans to be pretty bad. I mean, and if you're a fan of Maximum Ride, if you've read either the books or the manga, couldn't you see this as, like, an animated film? Like, maybe something from... I don't want to say Disney, but because they just go with the Marvel version, and I don't want that. But maybe some of the people who did the animation on, like, Young Justice. I'd love that. Or an animated show. Hell, everyone makes a joke about, oh, it's a manga, maybe it can be an anime. There's jokes, there's videos, but nothing concrete. If you are a fan of the series, let me know what you think in the